There's Trump's war on Somalian community who are living in Minnesota. It is politically. Trump questioning about the IQ of Ilhan Omar is a clear indication that it is politically. And also Trump is saying that there is fraud and everything, but the statement that politicians...
To know this, majority of us Somalis who are here, as my friend Ali said yesterday, most of us, this was not the first place we came when we came to the United States. But most of us chose Minnesota as our home because Minnesota is special to us. Minnesotans are special to us. When we moved from Arlington, Virginia and came here nearly 30 years ago, none of us decided to move to another state. My siblings and I and my dad, until he died, called Minnesota home. Because, like I said, Minnesota is special. And I know almost every single elected Somali Minnesotan did not start out in Minnesota, but chose to come here, stay here, start families here.
So instead of the Somali diaspora living sparsely across the United States, where they would be forced to integrate and assimilate into American society, they chose to congregate in Minneapolis so they could create an enclave that acts as a satellite state for the nation of Somalia, where they can amass political power and elect representatives like Ilhan Omar, who will do exactly what she admitted in the first clip: work from within the United States system for the betterment of Somalia, where they could engage in the same backward cultural behavior of corruption and piracy that led to Somalia being a failed state, and use their political leverage as a voting bloc to force local and state politicians to turn a blind eye to their massive fraud. In the last video I made, they have the police chief apologizing to the Somali community if they feel targeted by these fraud investigations, all while having a Somali translator. In the video I made before that, the mayor of Minneapolis is giving whole speeches in Somali. They have successfully weaponized white liberal guilt to force the acquiescence of their mission to benefit Somalia by any means necessary. So now if you want to win elections in Minneapolis or Minnesota, you need the Somali vote. And in order to get the Somali vote, you must vow to prioritize the interests of Somalia. Otherwise, they'll just install one of their own, like Ilhan Omar, who will do it. The latest mayoral race in Minneapolis was decided by leveraging a Somali clan war back in Somalia to split up the Somali vote in Minneapolis. You can't make this stuff up. Somali clan wars are deciding who the mayor of Minneapolis is. I truly believe in the exceptionalism of America. And because of that, I do believe that immigrants on an individual basis can integrate well into...
Breaking news, and now we can confirm that Somalian American Iron Lady Ilhan Omar gave a strong response to Donald Trump, saying that all Somalians who are born in the United States of America, they are Americans. And also she said that she's also American, and if Donald Trump is willing to deport her back to Somalia, then it should be constitutional.
Ilhan Omar just completely lost her mind on live TV after President Trump called criminal Somalis garbage. But today, it wasn't Trump who checked her. It was another African immigrant, and she went off. Went off with a reality check that Omar couldn't cash. Let me show you exactly what happened. He's bigot, xenophobic, the whole bingo card, right? But notice something. She never actually defends the behavior Trump is talking about. I'm just saying, fraud, welfare abuse. I always mess it up. Is this Sharia? Is this Sha'ara? Sha'aria? I always mess it up. I called it Shahara at first, but Sharia demands. I don't have to go to Google Translate. But she skips all of it because the moment she acknowledges the problem, her entire political identity, it collapses. So she pretends Minnesota is welcoming and everyone criticizing her community is just hateful. But I want you to watch what happens when a real African immigrant, someone who worked for everything, speaks up.
Part 2 of my question to Somalis refugees in America. After you went to all this country and nobody could take you in, the United States took you in, and all you can do is to try to tear their country apart. all you do is to steal from them. All you do is to put your religion on them. Meanwhile, not taking into consideration that there are other African refugees here. You muddy the water for every other refugees. You come over here as a refugee, but you fail to realize that it's not a right, it's a privilege. Yes, when somebody open their doors to you and say, come and live in my house, that the same way they open the door, they also have the right to kick you out. It's not a right, it's a privilege. You are not African American. You were refugees. You were refugees. Even your children born here can be deported. Because the citizenship law was not passed for you. It was passed for the African American and their ancestors and their children. So you and I, having it is a privilege, it's not a right. But where you forgot all of that. You came into the country, you live on free food, free home, free education. Meanwhile, the Black American who fought for it suffered. They suffered. They hardly get the opportunity that you get. But in return, what do? You turn around and shout, Allahu Akbar. You shout, you want to bring Somalia to America. If you love Somalia that much, why don't you ask for voluntary repatriation? The UN can repatriate you to Somalia, any part of Somalia you want, and go fight and make Somalia a better place. But like I said, we immigrants will not be silent. We will speak against you. And for those from the Middle East, other Middle Eastern refugees will stand up. But I will say this, you Somalis.
2 days ago, Trump called the Somali people garbage. He also referred to Ilhan, Omar as garbage as well. We're going to talk about what that means. Trump wasn't just being racist, he was changing the narrative. He was being politically strategic in what he aims to do, and here's how. If I can change how people talk about you, I can change how people see you. By using the word garbage, he plants a seed in the narrative of how people think about Somali people. These people do not belong. These people are not valuable. These people are the problem. Once he controls the narrative, he controls the actions that come after. The word garbage is designed to hit your nervous system first. It activates superiority in some people. It activates fear and danger in the population that's being targeted, the Somali people. It'll activate numbness in people who are bystanding. A dysregulated population, meaning a population whose nervous system has been activated in this way, is easy to manipulate. Now we hear the word garbage and we internalize that word in very different ways. Some people are going to feel justified in mistreating the Somali people. Some people are going to start believing that the policies to ban these people are justified without proof. Some are just going to repeat the language. Some are going to distance themselves socially. Some people are going to distrust their Somali friends and co-workers, people in their community. Some people are going to be scared to speak up and say this is completely abhorrent and horrific. And this is the beginning of collective behavior change towards a group. Now, he doesn't need everyone to go out there and harm Somalis. He needs enough people to be quiet and calm about it, not urgent about it, and kind of in that state of numbness for the system to hype up its harm of the Somali people. I want you to hear me because this is the most critical part of all of this. Now, when he uses the word garbage, he's actually collapsing the public's ability to see the Somali people or to imagine them as fully human. Once people stop imagining the Somali people as fully human, they stop seeing them as parents. They stop seeing them as neighbors. They stop seeing them as teachers. They stop seeing them as community members. They stop seeing them as activists. And they just start to see them as the caricature that has been painted in their brain about them. When we say people are dehumanized, this is what we refer to, the collapse of imagination. Instead, the category by which we see these people flattens. When imagination collapses, empathy goes out the window with it. And that is what makes harm acceptable over time. A collapsed imagination will allow for harsher immigration laws, for a hike in deportations, reduced public backlash, surveillance, increase of it, and political justification for discrimination. It is a tale as old as time. You take Somali people and you implement or put a different group of people who have been equally oppressed, and it always starts like this. I'm going to recap because I want you to remember this, because it's going to happen again, and it's going to be a different group of people. He used one violent word to create a narrative, to control the story. That word shocks the body at different levels and in different ways, depending on where you sit and how you see the world. This then shrinks our collective imagination about the group of people. And then that makes harm look like common sense. This is urgent, and it matters.
So I've watched a lot of interviews with Somalians, and at this point, I'm fairly convinced that they are possibly the most arrogant people who've ever existed on the entire planet. But they're almost a little too arrogant. They say things that just don't naturally roll off the tongue, like this lady.
Yeah. It feels home. I keep telling, I used to say in 2001, whether you like it or not, we're here to stay. So the sooner you get used to us, the sooner we'll all get along. And, suck it up, just what? We're here. We're Americans just like you.
The sooner you get used to us, the sooner we'll all get along. That's the sort of thing you're told as a kid when you're forced to be around somebody you don't want to be around at all. It's not the sort of thing you say to people whose country is giving you a new home. And naturally, this comes into play with Ilhan Omar. Here she is after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, stating that his legacy as an American should be in the dustbin of history, but she should be in Congress.
But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
And as bad as that is, it's not as bad as this new clip of Ilhan Omar.
And I want to underscore the importance of using every single leverage that we have at our arsenal, because we do have a lot of leverage. We need to make sure that those who are collaborating with the authoritarian regime pay a costly price.
Should pay a costly price. I'm sorry. This woman from Somalia who married her brother is stating that anybody who's collaborating with the democratically elected Trump administration here in the United States should pay a costly price. There's just too much arrogance across the board. It's like they've got assurances that they're going to be okay no matter what they do. I'm starting to wonder if these people aren't just seriously shock troops imported by the globalists, who by definition think that our country needed to be refounded, that it was always wrong, and that it needs to be completely remade. And then all Americans who don't conform to that new ideal need to be in the dustbin of history. Because this has been a very long-standing, slow-burn color revolution. It's been a coup organized around this new dogma of, obsessions with bigotry. Since Trump was elected, they've been throwing Ilhan Omar out front a lot. It's like they're using her for bait. But now she's talking about paying a price. How anybody who quote-unquote collaborated with our elected administration. And you just got to start worrying when somebody like Ilhan Omar is talking about consequences. That her and her gang of Somalians, who seem not worried at all, are talking about leveraging their power to bring about consequences for Americans for electing our own government.
Watch as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar claps back at Trump brilliantly after he called her garbage.
Have you begun packing your bags for Somalia yet, Congresswoman Omar?
I'm not going anywhere. No, don't waste your energy on me.
Do you have a message for President Trump?
I will be here probably longer than Trump.
Wait, do you have a message for President Trump?
I'm like a quarter of his age. Old man losing his mind. I don't know why he's obsessed with me. He gets help.
Who do you think's more garbagey, Omar or the sleepy convict?
Breaking news. Think as an African first. Before you say that Somalians are bad people. Remember, George was not a criminal and was killed with white cops in the United States of America. George was not a criminal, but George was killed just because he was black. They hate us because we are black. Trump hates us because we are black.